you've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it.
So this problem we colonialists, we Western created for you, you're going to have always problem every 10 years. So rather we should take it. We should take Gaza. Why are you guys having this land? You know, give it to us, because we're going to keep causing problem for you guys. And you guys going to keep having same problem. Rather you should give it to us and we will just take it, confiscate it.
We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East, and you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. Now it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work, and those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
Yeah, we will organize that area. Don't worry about it. We'll organize the area. We will enslave you, just like we have enslaved the UAE, where all the weapons of America goes and to kill the Muslims. We will create another port at the beach where there will be a lot of jobs. There will be ports, of course, and we will use you as a slave to kill your own people. So don't worry about it. We will create it. We'll build it for you. No worries. And in response, his slave, who is the grandson of someone that rebelled against Ottoman Empire, Ottoman Islamic Caliphate, he's saying, no worries, no problem. Gaza, no problem. When it comes to saving their life, they're not Muslims. They're just a bunch of trash living there. But when it comes to giving out their land and taking and confiscation, we will help Trump. We will help America relocate them somewhere in the desert and then give the prime location of Gaza for the West to build good hotels, nice hotels, no problem. We'll communicate. And we also, what we're going to do? We have 2,000 kids that are that are hurting because of we caused them cancer. So, or my master, basically Western masters, our Western masters, we cause problem for them. So what we're going to do? We're going to do great ihsan on them, and we're going to take them into Jordan, and we'll put them somewhere in the camp after getting the money from the West.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
And Mr. President, would you seek to personally develop property in Gaza after this happens?
No. I've had a great career in real estate.
Imagine the reporter is asking Trump, are you going to build the property? Are you going to do the development? As if, some other country is allowed to come into United States in the middle of the heart of the United States and start building things, How pathetic this world is, without Islam, without Islamic Khilafah, without Islamic State, that they just say, oh, Trump, Mr. Trump, are you going to just take over Gaza and rebuild it, your fancy buildings, Trump Tower maybe?
This is all things that should have been done, but actually things that should have had to be done. Gaza, absolutely, it would have been so great if the Biden administration would have started this. But actually, in all fairness to them, they should have never let it happen. It did happen, and because of the fact that they let this happen, this catastrophe of October 7th, something like this becomes practical and very real, meaning the development and all of the things that I've talked about with respect to the Gaza Strip. If you didn't have the October 7th catastrophe, and it was a horrible catastrophe, then probably you wouldn't be talking about that.
All right, so here's the biggest of the logic that Trump gives, right? That if the October 7th did not happen, then we wouldn't have to go through this and wiping these people out of the region and building our own empire and our own progress there. And we wouldn't give it to the Israel if it was not for the October 7th and the previous administration, whatever they did. So that's not a problem because they created the problem. So now we have to go in and solve the problem by giving their land away to Israelis. According to the logics of Donald Trump, Muslims should take over the Europe, and they should take over UK specifically, because UK and US, if they do not go to the Middle East, there will not be a lot of problem. There are many du'at and analysts and scholars, they all claim to participate in the US election. This was the most bogus idea. Muslims will never win in the West. And a lot of them, they use the analogy of how the Jews, they came and they participated in the US election and then, or influenced the government or did lobbying. So a lot of the bunch of scholars that don't have any sense of politics, they will say Muslims to do it without looking at the historical context, how Muslims are very different than the Jews. The Jews have been infiltrated into the society of the West and they have been beaten, and West also uses them. So the Muslims, however, on the other hand, Muslims rule the world. Jews, they did not rule the world. Muslim, however, they ruled India, they ruled Spain, they ruled the entire of the Middle East. So the West is very familiar with the Muslims, and West will not allow them to infiltrate and get into the politics of the US and influence their politics, whereas they will allow the Jews to exist and do what they're doing. What should Muslims do of the Middle East? Muslims of the Middle East should start revolting against their rulers, because their rulers do not represent the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They do not represent the Ummah of, they do not rule by the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commands and prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these Muslims that are living into the Muslim countries, they should plan the revolt against these rulers. None of them, including Erdogan, none of them are ruling by Islam. They do not support Islam. They do not support the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They all must be removed and replaced with an Islamic government. That is the only way forward, because we have been trying and failing, because we're not using the right solution to resolve our issues. Our issues is not because we need to be more represented in American government. This is not something that is going to resolve the issues of the Ummah. The issues of the Ummah will be resolved once we go back to the rules of Islam, the dominance of Islam, the takeover of Islam to the Muslim government, to the Muslim countries, and then from there we will gain our strength and we will march forth and resolve our issues. Without having the Khilafah state, without having the Islamic state, without having a state that will represent the emotions, the willpower of the Ummah, we will not be able to move anywhere. The Erdogan will bend over to America. King Abdullah will bend over to America. The Sisi will bend over to America, and every other clown, MBS and you name it, they will all bend over to America, and America will rape the Muslim Ummah, whereas we need to get up and do our job and revolt against these rulers and bring the Islamic rule in the Muslim lands. And that's how we will be powerful again. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.